best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
If Bud was the best, I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He's hands down, he's the best. He's the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him respect no matter what. You got to give him respect. He just went up 2 weight classes, what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion. I've only won one of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith called out Floyd Mayweather for downplaying Terence Crawford's win over Canelo Álvarez. Smith argued that Crawford achieved something historic, becoming undisputed in multiple divisions, something no other fighter has ever done. He insisted that Crawford earned his legacy through skill and courage, and his victory over Canelo was a defining moment in boxing history. For Smith, no amount of negativity from Mayweather could overshadow such a monumental accomplishment.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance.
Jeff Mayweather reacted strongly to the upset, saying Canelo's loss would forever stain his legacy. Canelo had been the undisputed king of the division, dominant against all challengers, until Crawford, moving up in weight, humbled him in his own territory. Jeff emphasized that defining moments shape how champions are remembered, and for Canelo, that defining moment became his shocking defeat at Crawford's hands.
But either way, he was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What did this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on him because he was, even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever in an absolute master. In Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. Because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because, he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing, losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great.
Stephen A. Smith doubled down on his admiration for Crawford. Having witnessed the fight in person, he said no one in boxing history has accomplished what Crawford just did, moving up in weight and dismantling a dominant champion like Canelo in convincing fashion. Smith called it a career-defining victory, one that redefines greatness itself.
This was Terence Bud Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because he only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence Bud Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Álvarez. Now, I was there, because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
Crawford's trainer declared that Terence now has nothing left to prove. Despite dismantling one of boxing's biggest names, critics still withhold respect, a frustration the trainer voiced openly. He said Crawford isn't focused on another fight right now, his victory over Canelo alone cements his place in history. This wasn't about chasing opponents anymore, but about building a legacy that can't be denied.
Terence Crawford. And his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Álvarez take, and Canelo Álvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, was one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who has 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. Stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Álvarez was brought up and he never accepted the fight. And so with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terence Crawford. And they're saying that Terence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terence Crawford is ducking and Terence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24,
Timothy Bradley gave one of the boldest takes, placing Crawford at the very top of the all-time greats conversation. For Bradley, the win wasn't just about beating Canelo, it was about redefining the pound-for-pound standard. He argued that while Floyd Mayweather perfected boxing in his era, Crawford just proved he could do it on an even higher level by conquering Canelo at his peak.
It might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? You see, I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here, you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his resume.
Roy Jones Jr. offered perspective, noting that when Mayweather beat Canelo, the Mexican star was still young and inexperienced. Crawford, on the other hand, faced a fully matured, dominant version of Canelo and still dismantled him despite being the smaller man. For Jones, that's what makes Crawford's win extraordinary. He beat the best version of Canelo, not the rising prospect Mayweather once outclassed.
Great in Canelo Álvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does, and the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to find it, and he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Álvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think he's on the decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights we have put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time to see them fight.
Duke McKenzie was stunned by the performance. He said Canelo had no answers for Crawford's speed, precision, and pressure. Calling it one of the most complete displays ever seen in modern boxing, McKenzie insisted that Crawford has now proven himself practically unbeatable, setting a standard that very few fighters will ever reach.
That feeling, do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight, not way before the fight, you know, in the build-up to this fight. Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight, you know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, that all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable. And Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense, went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney. And I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition. And now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs, you know, hitting him with the head and the body, the little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford, knowing how to close a round, knowing how to win rounds.
Trainer Robert Garcia praised Crawford for daring to take risks Mayweather never did. He noted that Crawford won 9 to 10 rounds convincingly against a bigger, stronger Canelo, something Floyd never attempted at such high stakes. Garcia stressed that this wasn't about belts, but about risk and reward, and Crawford proved himself willing to take challenges that separate true legends from icons.
Canelo has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't, I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised at how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three-time, three-division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing. If Canelo doesn't have any changes, if he doesn't, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But I would be so happy to hear he retired.
Brian Norman Sr. argued that Crawford's dismantling of Canelo was far more punishing than anything Mayweather ever delivered. Canelo, long the face of boxing, wasn't just beaten, he was systematically broken down by a man who jumped 2 weight classes to face him. For years, Canelo looked untouchable, but in one night, Crawford shattered that aura. It wasn't a close decision, it was a complete outclassing that left Canelo searching for answers he couldn't find.
Against Bud on quarter, I didn't think that Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, right? He's hands down. He's the best. He's the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do, and he is doing it with ease.
Break,
you got to respect him.
Break it down for me. How did he win that fight in the way he wanted tonight?
He won the fight by taking Canelo's respect. I think he was already in Canelo's head a little bit. I think that even though Canelo knew he was smaller and everything else, these fighters are still humans and they hear what the people are saying. Canelo was, Crawford was undefeated. Look at what he did to the Spence. I mean, look at what he's doing to some of these people. So no matter what, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what he did against Primo or whatever else, you got to take into consideration what Bud has been known to do when it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think Canelo respected him, and I think that was the biggest part.
Yeah, Canelo Canelo just said in the press conference that Crawford's better than Mayweather, having shared the ring with Floyd. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things that's an opinionated situation with the Styles thing fight. He beat him up. He beat Canelo up worse than Mayweather beat him up. He definitely did that. So in that case, you can ask the question: did he beat him up worse than Floyd did? Absolutely. But I mean, that would be an opinionated thing with the Styles thing fight. You never know. You know what I'm saying?
Different eras as
Yeah,
well, right?
different eras. It's a different a lot of things.
Yeah.
Andre Ward, a legend himself, placed Crawford's victory in historical context. He called it a generational fight, one that will be remembered for decades as a turning point in boxing. Ward admired Crawford's discipline and composure throughout, saying he never let emotions interfere with his sharp execution. For Ward, this was a GOAT moment, one that pushed Crawford firmly into the conversation of the greatest fighters ever.
What was your thoughts on that performance from Canelo, from Terence?
Terence Crawford, great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Álvarez tonight, and he did that at 38, 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there, the power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So, what more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we doing?
That wraps up today's coverage. Stay tuned for more.